But then when we wake up, then we realize that okay, that was just a dream, right? You might be having like suffering something in the dream, something like a tiger coming to attack you, and you are so terrified at that point of time, right? You don't see that that's a dream at that point of time.
True.
Once you wake up, you are like, okay, there is no time, right? So that's the point. But when you are in that dream, you are suffering,
Yeah.
right? When you are in that dream, you are suffering, uh, but you don't understand it then. Once you wake up, only you will understand, right?
True.
So that's the point here, right? So does it mean that this world is just a dream? No. What we are trying to say is that waking state, dream state, and then the deep sleep state that we haven't yet gone to. So I'll just quickly cover that as well. So the deep sleep state. The deep sleep state, Shankaracharya says here that aham kimapi janami. Just a minute. Yeah. Aham kimapi na janami sukhena maya nidranubhuyata iti sushuptyavastha. So there you don't understand anything, right? You are absolutely in deep sleep state. So there is no seer, no seen, right? You are not seeing any world, be it waking, be it dream, right? Absolutely nothing. But we go there every day, and then if you don't go there every day, then what happens is that your next day goes for a toss, right? Once you get up, you're like, I am so tired, right? If you don't get a sleep, good sleep, then what you call as what he says that I had a very bad sleep. I had a lot of dreams coming in, right? I didn't get a good sleep and I don't feel energized. But for us to feel energized every day, each night you have to go to that deep sleep state, wherein you, as such, as a person, as I know myself, Hari, is not existing. Pradeep not existing. Nilesh not existing. Right? We are not there at all. We are not there. If we are there, then we are not in deep sleep state. So we don't know anything about ourselves. Even we don't know that we were in that deep sleep state. When we wake up, we have slight memory somewhere that okay, it was peaceful. Nothing was there. Right? It was a joyous state, rather, right?
Yeah.
Energizing state. So we every day, and it's so funny actually if you look at it that way from a philosophical point of view. Every day we try to achieve a lot of things in our daily life. We try to achieve, and then during night, what we want is a good night's sleep, wherein we are getting rid of everything, right? We want to get rid of everything and get energized, right?
Yeah.
Right. So, and in Vedantic terms, this state where we are in is called as pratnya. So we talked about three states. The waking state, the ego in the waking state is called Taijasan. No, what did they say? Taijasan. Yeah. And sorry, Vishwan. In dream state, it is called as Taijasan.
Digestion.
In deep sleep state, it is called as
Practice.
Pratnya. So these are the three states. So in Pratnya, absolutely nothing. Absolutely nothing. We don't know about anything about this world or anything. This is again in Vedantic terms. This is called as the Karana state. Now we are trying to connect to the bodies now, right? We are trying
The,
to
the,
connect to these three
the
bodies.
third state, the deep sleep state, is called as the Karana state.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we are trying to connect with the first three bodies and
Yeah.
the states now. Okay. So what happens is in the state where which is Stula Sharira, right? We are in the waking state. Stula Sharira is equal to Jagrada Avastha,
Yeah.
right? Sukshma Sharira, which is the dream state, is the Swapna Avastha,
Okay.
right? And where we don't know anything, like when while we were in the seed, while we were not born, wherein we didn't know anything about us as this body, as this entity, right? We were in the seed state or the causal state. So, from an experience point of view, we are going to that causal state.
Right.
So, if you just look at it that way, the causal state is equal to Karana Sharira is the deep sleep state, right?
Mm-hmm.
The Sukshma Sharira is the Swapna state, and the Stula Sharira is the Jagrat state.
Yeah.
So we have seen it from a complete manner, from a Avastha experience perspective and the body perspective. And so we will stop here today because, yeah, then let's
Sure.
put any questions or anything.
I have a question. Sometimes, like when we, like I'll talk about myself. When I finish work late in the night, and then when I go to sleep, I don't feel that I can sleep that well. So even though I've slept probably the same number of hours, but as soon as I work and go to sleep, even for sleeping for the same number of hours, I don't feel I've slept well. So your body is resting, but your mind is not resting. Uh, so is that me? Like the body is fine, or is it the mind causing the problem? Or like how do you?
In the Sukshma Sharira, because what happens is that the mind, if the body has to shut down, right, go to sleep, right, it's not just enough that you just lie on the bed, right, your mind has to go to sleep, your mind has to get dissolved. If you look at that process, and it is very interesting, if you just observe that, what happens is that you get a lot of thoughts after thoughts while sleeping, and then slowly you just slip into the sleep, right? You slip into the sleep, and then you just either you goes to a dream state where you are just dreaming. You get into some kind of a dream, and then it's a slow transition from that state to the dream state. And suddenly, what happens is that at times you will not completely go there. You will suddenly wake up. You're like half asleep, and then suddenly you wake up, and then you are like, okay, I have something to do, right? There might be something bothering you. That is like in the example that you said. The next day, okay, I have not completed. I had a very hard day at work, and then I still have this to complete. Suddenly, that waking state reality hits you, right? So your mind is not shutting down. Your mind, if it shuts down, and I think we saw this while we are looking at the I think Shama in the class, right? What happens with the mind. So the mind has to shut down for you to go into the sleep. So what is the deep sleep state called as? The deep sleep state, if you look at that, if you can remember that antakarana part in that chart, right? Mana, buddhi, chitta, ahankara. If all those four gets dissolved, right? Goes non-existent, that is the deep sleep state. Because if any of those are working, if your memories, if you'll be like lying down, some memories are coming, you will not be able to sleep. Random thoughts are coming, you will not be able to sleep. If you have to decide something, that is, let's say there is a important presentation that is going to happen tomorrow, whether I should say this, I should say that to the client so that I can win the business, you will not be able to sleep, right? And even if, let's say, somebody has told you something in the evening, or in the morning, or whenever it is, and then it actually hurt your ego, you are like, why did he say that? I should respond. Or if somebody praised you also, oh yeah, I'm so good, so I think I'm having a happy day, then also you might not be able to sleep. You will be like feeling joyful. So if you have to go into that deep sleep state, you have to
Ego.
get rid of, or that four parts has to get dissolved into the karana, or into that sleep. Then only you can say that you have slept.
Okay. Okay. So it's me.
Between
Okay. So
Neo
because the mind is
Takangu at
continuously working in the
dead
background,
body type.
basically, like you said, you can't get rid of probably one of the states. Um, okay.
Hari, a question here, related actually. So, we connected these three parts of the body. So, Sthula Sharira, the Sukshma Sharira, and the Karana Sharira to the three states, right, or experiences. Uh, so, the first one, which is the Sthula Sharira, we had uh, six parts to it. The pre-birth, the birth, and then the growth, the decay, and then back into yeah, the death, right? So when we are in the third state of experience, when we are in prajna, right, or deep sleep state, are we technically in between death and pre-birth? Are we actually in that state?
That's a very good question. So, see, I don't know whether you have heard this. Some philosopher, I don't remember his name. So he says that sleep is an interim death.
Yeah, that's what I'm going to say. Like, have we actually technically, because we are not totally, we don't have ego, we don't have mind, we don't have intellect, we are totally detached, we have no experience of our body, right? The Stula Sharira or the Sukshma, actually, and we are, so that deep state, we, in a way, the body is not material or not being experienced in that time, right? So technically, if I go by that Stula Sharira diagram, at the time of birth or pre-birth, you just the seed is becoming, implanted, and it starts, the journey starts, and at death it finishes. So have we, in that deep sleep state, gone to the other side, or actually experiencing the virtual side, virtual side of
Logging off, plugging off from metaverse, is it? That's
I'm
what you're referring to.
trying to relate in a easy,
Yeah.
today
Yeah, yeah, you are actually right. It's kind of plugging off from metaverse only. But then the point is that you it gets the difference between death and that deep sleep state is in death. What happens is that your ego, your personality doesn't emerge again,
right.
at least for this point of time, right? Whether that is true or not, we will go to the deeper Vedanta and see. But then, as of today, we know that we all go to sleep tonight with the hope that we will get up
Okay.
next day morning, right?
So that's
So
permanent. Like it's
yeah, it's a kind of
temporarily
a power
permanent.
down.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like the laptop being the sleep state, not shut down.
Got it. Got it. Yeah.
Yeah. But
Okay.
then that is required, right? Otherwise, you are absolutely, if you go on without, so that we all know, right? We can go on without even food for many days and even water for some days, but you can't go beyond what I think it was 72 hours or something without sleep, right?
Yeah, something
Yeah.
like that. Yeah. Interesting.
So all this is something that we know of, nothing that we don't know. And also one more thing is that when we say that Stula Sharira is equal to Jagrata Avastha, we should not think that it is just that Jagrata Avastha, Sukshma Sharira is not there, right? So because the mind, intellect, everything is there. What we are trying to emphasize here is that during the Jagrata Avastha, right, the Sukshma Sharira is also there, but what is relevant, that is, what experience is actually more than the other two experiences, right, is effective in Stula Sharira, in our gross body, because we do always do action with our gross body while we are awake, right?
Yeah.
And our mind part, that is, the antakarana part, is more, on the forefront during the sapnavastha. That's what
During which one?
the antakarana is more there in the swapnavastha,
Swapnavastha.
right? That is the stula sharira part. When you say stula sharira, right?
Yeah.
And the karana sharira, of course, it's causal, right? So it doesn't mean that the other two experiences, other two bodies are missing on each of these states. Only in one state, which is karana sharira, the other two bodies are missing. During the jagrat and the swapnavastha, right? So the other two bodies are there. Like Sandeep Bhai mentioned, right? That we daydream,
Yeah.
correct? So and sitting there we daydream, and then it is there. The mind is there. We are there, right? But again the dreams are coming through. We are not active at that point of time, though we are in waking state.
Yeah.
अरे भाई मुझे एक क्वेश्चन है
बताइए.
कि हमने एक्चुअली डिफरेंट स्लीप के माइंड स्टेट्स ऑफ माइंड डिस्कस किया, डीप स्लीप एंड डे ड्रीमिंग. I mean, how you define something called as a trance state? Because many people are in a, like they are, it's not sleeping also, they are not even they are active, but actually they are in a different state of mind, which is I mean, and they basically many times uh, they are doing their best basically, and they something uh, which cannot be explained basically.
So okay, trance, because we often we use words interchangeably. So trance, do you mean meditative state or trance?
Oh, for example, let me give example. For example, say, let's take some example like Bhimsen Joshi when he used to sing at his best. So that means he is in that kind of mental state where his mind is just giving a performance which is like one of the we cannot really explain with the logical normal mind. For example, Virat Kohli plays best inning. He is in his own state of mind where he just his best state of mind controls him, and he just mesmerizes everyone. So that's kind of state.
Yeah. So that is actually, that's the most beautiful combination of the uh, mind plus body, right? So that's what in Bhagavad Gita, in Karma Yoga, Bhagavan Sri Krishna talks about this, right? So it is called as Karma Kushalata, right? Or you being, you are at the best in what you are doing, right? So what happens there is, normally when we do our work, right? If we are not being able to be successful, or if we don't have interest, or due to whatever reasons, we are not having that harmony between 100% harmony between your body and the mind, right? We might be doing mechanically something, we might be even giving a presentation to a client, and then a lot of thoughts might be coming to us. But what's happening is that the power of concentration is the most important factor there, right? When you say what needs there to concentrate on a particular subject is the skill you need, of course, which we will cover when we talk about vasanas, right? You need the skill, you need the interest, absolute interest on that one, and then you, most importantly, you should have an undivided mind there, right? Then body becomes, if you look at in a lot of cases, if you have read books like that, right? Lot of cases what happens is that body just becomes an instrument for the concentrated mind, like what you just mentioned about Virat Kohli as an example, right? So when he is
I mean, yeah, obviously, not all the time you see this. You see this very occasionally, not like every time.
not every time, right? Virat Kohli doesn't have a success
Yeah.
every time, right? But then there are times, right? When you are able to concentrate your mind, your body, right? uh, you are able to put your undivided attention, you are able to brush off the pressures. At times you come under the pressure, at times you are able to brush off the pressure and then perform to the extent that is possible. That actually is the power of the mind. How you cultivate that is you know determines your success. Pratibha, you have.
Yeah, I was just saying that is it also that, I mean, the best combination of mind and your body, right? Is it not also the jnana indriyas impacting your karma indriyas, impacting your the other indriyas, and you make awakening yourself to the extent where you are so aligned, your body and your spiritual side or the conscious side is so aligned that it's one, it's not two, right? Because generally
It
there's a
is not.
disconnect between, no.
It is not. So if you look at what's happening there is how this control comes actually, right? So if you look at this control, right? From where does it all originates? This is you, ahankara, which
Yeah,
as I know, I
yeah, yeah,
myself, right? Then using this, let's say if somebody like Virat Kohli or whoever it is, right? He makes this use. This is the base, and then he knows the situation. So he makes that decision with buddhi, the discriminative
yeah.
intellect, right? On what needs to be done at that point of time, what is the best thing, right? Then, of course, all these will be in coordination. If he is having some, respiratory issue or any issue, he will not be able to perform his best. All
Exactly.
this needs to be in harmony. But then, using the buddhi, what he does is he makes best use of this, right? Of this jnanendriyas and karmendriyas. This controls, right? Using ahankara controls, using the buddhi, using this. And this is where we talked about this one, right? This is what it is,
Yeah, controlling your indriyas, right?
right? So if you are in this state where you are, your body, your chariot is controlled by the intellect, with you as the ego, here the self means ego, with the reins of the mind and the horses as the senses, right? If you are able to perfectly control and concentrate, you will be successful. And that's what we saw in this example.
Yeah. So there is no lag time between your body, its capability, and your execution, basically, right? Your decision making and your execution.
Absolutely, everything is in perfect harmony. Let's say, and this is the battlefield, right? And that's a perfect example, because if, let's say, Krishna, he is putting his reins down for a moment. Imagine what will happen. The horses will run in all the directions,
Yeah.
right? And then Arjuna will not be even able to take a step forward, and his chariot will crash, right? So the more power that he has, the more he is able to control. Everything works in perfect harmony.
Got it.
I think meaning of this picture is really designed to show that control on the senses by the intellect. Because
Yeah,
actually, in the battlefield, we don't need really four horses to the chariot. Two horses are enough to carry two people. So definitely, it is designed. This picture is designed for control of the senses only.
absolutely. So, and that is very much in the sloka as well, right? This and this is something that we were I think you might not have been there in that class. All these stories that we have, right? The Puranas is the next layer from the Vedas, the Upanishad. Then these stories were designed to make people understand the Upanishads and the Vedas in a way that people can understand, right? By putting some imagery around it. So this is a very beautiful image. There's actually, there are only four horses, but then there are five horses actually in Gita, right? So five horses and the reins and everything. This image is for that, right? For making people understand how to control your senses using your intellect as the prime factor, not as the mind, right? And then be successful.
I think that was great, Haribhai. Thanks for that explanation.
So, anything else that we